Hey everybody, welcome back! Want to see how my mom made this spooky mask? Well, you gotta keep watching.
So I started this tutorial by making sure her face was clean and moisturized. I'm using this flat, square-shaped synthetic makeup brush to apply this cream face paint. I did not show the face paint because I would not recommend it. It was from Party City. It's called Cream Makeup, but it was pretty bad in terms of how opaque it was and drying. It cracked a lot. So next time, if you're doing something more, maybe for an adult, I would use a better quality makeup paint. But this is just cream paint from Party City, and I'm applying it all over her face. Right now I'm just carving out the shape of a skull. It was really hard on her tiny little head, but I tried to fill where her bones were as much as possible, around her cheeks and her eye sockets. Now I'm creating this V shape to carve out her nose area. That's why this flat square brush helps a lot when you need to get small angles, especially on her tiny little nose. And then I'm going to finish carving out the rest of the face and filling it in. Like I said, this isn't the best paint, so I had to apply about 2 layers, which caused it to crack a little bit. You'll see later. But I'm just waiting for it to dry a little bit before adding an additional layer. You have to use your discretion when you decide if your child is old enough for all this face paint. My daughter is old enough to understand she can't lick, touch. So if you have a small child, it is at your discretion, but you want to make sure that they know the warnings of having makeup that close to their eyes and around their mouth. So after I got the paint nice and white, as good as I can get it without it completely cracking, I went in with a liner brush and Motive's Little Black Dress gel liner, and I'm using this small brush to trace the outsides of the skull around the eye sockets and around the outsides of her head and of course her nose area. Now you can absolutely leave the skull like this with an outline. It still looks pretty cool, but this look was inspired by someone on Instagram named Kayla Hagey. I'll leave her info in the caption, and I really liked the detail she put into the mask, so for tutorial purposes I decided to go all the way there. Now all I'm doing here is creating leaf-like shapes. The girl who inspired this look, Kayla Hagey, she was trying to mimic the design of lace. I didn't have the patience to be that intricate with the detail, but I tried to get it as close as possible for time purposes. But basically you're just drawing leaf-like shapes and spirals anywhere you want. I tried to get both sides of her face to look the same, and actually I was planning to go over it with a liquid liner to make the lines way more darker and defined, but she was kind of over it by the time I finished the bottom, so I definitely would recommend going over the gel liner with a liquid liner just to make sure the lines pop out way more than they're gonna look like in this tutorial. So you can check out her YouTube page. I will also leave that below, of the girl who inspired this look, because she did go over it with the liner and her detail was much more precise than mine. Now once I have the design done at the top of the eye, I'm just doing the same type of shapes underneath her eye as I did on the other side. Her face is really small, so if you're doing this on a kid, you have very little area to work with as far as the detail is concerned, but you know, I tried to get it as best as possible. Now I'm just carving off the teeth by making lines straight down. If I were to do this again, I would just leave the lines and not the other little lines I made that I didn't get on camera, but yeah, that's pretty much how they have to drink the whole night with the straw. Now I'm just going in on the outsides of the skull with a shade called Electra from the Motives Maven's Dynasty palette, and I am shading all of the outside lines and sockets to create a shadow as if the skull is being placed on her face, as I was instructed to by watching the tutorial by Kayla. And now I'm just going in with a pencil brush and Raven from Motives Maven's Element palette, and I'm going right on that black liner line and smudging that off into Electra, both in her eye sockets and on the outside of the skull. After that, I'm just using a blending brush and just cleaning up some of the areas that are a little choppy. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. Luckily, this wasn't her actual Halloween makeup, so it was okay that we had cracking, but we know next time we're going to use some better paint. The last portion is optional and can be a little messy if you don't let it dry or use a matte, but I use this OCC liquid matte tar on her bottom lip. I had more planned for this look, glitter, color, a whole bunch of stuff, but she looks tired and she is tired, so that's where we finished off. I hope you guys like it.
So there it is. Isn't it spooky? I love it. And if you loved it, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to Yoshidoll. See you next time. Love ya.